Well, hello out there in podcast land, and welcome back to the Front Row Movie Reviews podcast, the podcast for people who actually like movies. And welcome to another episode of Guilty Pleasures, the show where we celebrate the movies we love despite what the critics, public opinion, or even our own God-given sense might tell us. I am your host, Lou Hare. It is a pleasure to be back, and Happy New Year! It's 2018. We made it! Woo!
Barely.
Yes. And so, and joining me on the podcast today to talk about a movie that I'm loving that we got to revisit and watch, please welcome Sarah Geckner.
Hey!
And also joining me for the first time on Guilty Pleasures, please, but a regular to the Front Row Movie Reviews, please welcome Allison Means. Allison, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Glad we could finally get you on.
Yeah.
So today on Guilty Pleasures, it's January. Everybody's got their New Year's resolutions. Everybody's wanting to maybe get in shape, get fit, look their best as part of their New Year's resolution. So let's talk about a movie that takes that idea to its most logical conclusion, and that is the 1992 black comedy Death Becomes Her. A quick plot summary. When two beauty-obsessed rivals drink a magic potion, they soon learn that eternal youth isn't all it's cracked up to be. See what I did there?
Yep. I gotcha. Yep. I read you loud and clear.
I'm catching all your Pokemon.
I'm incredibly subtle. This movie, if you
That's
haven't,
what we're known for here on the Front Row.
Yes. So this movie, for those of you who haven't seen this movie, if you haven't, it stars Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, and Bruce Willis. It's directed by Robert Zemeckis at a really interesting time for him. It's 1992. He's just finished the Back to the Future trilogy, and he's about to make Forrest Gump. And right in between the two,
he does this.
He does this.
He just makes his career with this one.
He does. He's like, I've had enough of this feel-good family nonsense. Let's hit Meryl Streep in the face with a shovel.
Why not?
Sure. So, a couple of reasons why we're talking about it on this podcast. This movie has gained pretty much a really occult following. It just celebrated its 25th anniversary last year. But when it came out, it was not nearly as big of a hit as any of Zemeckis' movies at the time. So it's considered pretty much a big disappointment at the time. It makes $58 million on a $55 million budget.
So not technically a flop.
Not technically a flop. And actually, when you consider international, it makes $90 million internationally. So it does.
That's not too bad.
No, not at all. It does pretty well. The reviews are right down the middle. It's got a 50% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, I was looking at that last night.
So Siskel and Ebert gave it a thumbs down. They didn't care for this. It has a 6.5 IMDb rating, which isn't bad. It's actually the highest. This is the highest movie we've done yet here on Guilty Pleasures.
Oh.
So, yeah. So
hell yeah.
There's the ceiling, folks. 6.5.
Death Becomes Her.
Yes.
Live up to it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. So when I was talking to you two both about doing this movie, I knew there was some immediate excitement. So I want to let both of you start off and tell me what your history with this movie is. Let's start with Allison.
I think I saw this like early high school, I want to say. I don't remember if we rented it or if it was just on TV or something. It wasn't a movie that I really had gone out of my way to see, and I hadn't really heard about it. But I saw it, and I thought, this is amazing, and I need to watch this a million more times.
All right, how about you, Sarah?
My mom's mom, my grandma Judy, she was kind of wild and crazy. She had like this one closet with like 10 movies in it. And it was like Stakeout and another Stakeout.
You gotta have
and
both.
Like The Way We Were, like that really goes in there, and Dirty Dancing and Death Becomes Her. It was in that closet. And I used to like—
It was a grandma's closet. Okay.
It was in grandma's movie closet. And so I always wanted to watch, even from like age like 7, 8, like right when she first got it. And because the cover was so cool, like with the candelabra going through her stomach. And I was like, I have to watch this movie. So we used to watch it over there all the time on rotation, and I was just obsessed with it. And then like I'd go home and I'd make my mom take me to Family Video to get it again. And my mom would call my grandma and just be like, please stop letting her watch Death Becomes Her. So I've seen this like my fair share of time.
Yeah. The funny thing is the first time I saw this movie, it had to been on home video, because it wasn't a movie that I think I would have gone out and seen. I was 13 at the time, 12 or 13. And this movie's not marketed to 13-year-old boys.
No,
not even a little bit.
No. But I saw this, and I'm pretty sure this is only the second Meryl Streep movie I ever saw, which is hilarious when you consider her career, and she is the most revered actress maybe in history. And
I was going to say, great indication of future performance.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it was the first—
And past, frankly.
The first one that I saw was She-Devil with Rose.
So you really got the gamut there for Meryl Streep.
So all I know of Meryl Streep at this point in my life is that she likes these weird ass comedies where she just like
she's just like a glamorous bitch. Yeah.
Right. Oh man.
And then I get a little older and figure, there may be something to this girl may have her future.
This lady won Oscars. Like
she did.
Why does everyone like her?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, Death Becomes Her was all right, but
oh man,
it's a fierce performance.
It is. It absolutely.
Listen, that opening number
alone.
Okay. Well, yeah. For those of you who haven't seen this movie to me is like, what if we made a zombie movie but made it fabulous?
Right.
Yeah. Because pretty much.
Lady movie star zombies. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So we start with a musical number for no
RuPaul's Zombie Race.
Yeah.
It really is. It's one of the greatest musical numbers ever, too.
Oh, yes. I
would love to see a real musical with this number in it, because it's awesome.
Yes. Would you go see Songbird the musical?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
100%.
I would not walk out like everybody else in the theater seems to be doing, like really
We'd be sitting next to each other with like popcorn.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, it's a Broadway musical. These people of like 1978 Broadway, I think, but like every person in the theater is just like, oh, this is garbage.
They pan across, someone's just asleep, like head back, open mouth.
But not Bruce Willis. He's like, sensational.
He is enthralled in that.
That would be us, Sarah.
One of my favorite Bruce Willis roles ever, too.
That's great. That's what I thought watching this movie, too, because Bruce Willis the knock on him sometimes is that there are movies where he clearly doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
This isn't one of them.
No,
he gave every shit.
No, he gave literally
so many.
He stockpiled them. That's why in other movies he used them all up.
That's the mystery. There we go. We've solved it now. That apparently
even Jeremy was like, "Whoa, Bruce Willis is trying really hard." I was like, "Yeah, he really is.
He is." And well, this was interestingly during Bruce Willis's comedy phase. He had done the previous year. He had done Bonfire of the Vanities, which was a famous bomb, and the year before that, he did Hudson Hawk, which was another famous bomb, and they were both comedies. And so you could tell he really wants, in this like phase of his career, he wants to be a comedic actor.
He's like, believe me, I'm funny.
I can do it. And then like these movies don't work out well, and I feel then that's where we just get stoic Bruce Willis for the rest of our lives.
He's like, fine, I'll never be funny again.
I will not smile. But yeah, interestingly enough, he's a huge star, even though he's off of he's in a bit of a slump when this comes out, but he's a huge star at the moment. But he's not the first choice for this movie. Originally, the role was offered to Kevin Kline.
Oh, I could totally see that.
Oh yeah, right. And as if this movie didn't
Could see that.
As if this movie didn't have enough credibility within like the theatrical world. Like if you had Kevin Kline in this movie, this is just maybe the holy grail for people. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Kevin Kline passes and you get Bruce Willis. Who,
it is a really random choice for Bruce Willis. Like I don't even think I realized it was Bruce Willis till I was older. Because it doesn't even look like him.
You're like, well, but he has hair.
Yeah, right. A little.
It throws you a little bit.
Yeah, so we see him in the beginning, and he's attending the musical number to end all musical numbers with his wife, or fiance at the time, played by Goldie Hawn. And it's interesting because we're talking about the comedy. Of the three people in this movie, Goldie Hawn's the one known for her comedic abilities, and I think she's maybe given the least to work with.
She's by far the least funny.
She's definitely like the straight man of all of them in this.
Yeah, she absolutely is.
Not what you expect for a Goldie Hawn role, certainly.
No, yeah. So it's interesting just to see all three people playing kind of against type in a lot of different ways, which is part of kind of the fun about this movie. So obviously, Bruce Willis leaves Goldie Hawn for Meryl Streep. This sends Goldie Hawn into
the best shame spiral ever.
Yes, it is.
The most incredible fat suit I've ever seen.
Just like eating cans of
frosting. In the most disgusting way possible. Like
with like 500
there's a cat inside the cupboard.
Yeah.
She has like 45,000 cans of frosting lined up. Like she can't afford her rent, but she took stock in frosting.
That's where she spent it all on frosting. Frosting and cats.
Yeah, that's which somehow ends her in jail. I don't understand that too. She like gets arrested.
Yeah, because she hasn't paid her rent, I guess.
It's like failure. I think it's like failure to fix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, failure to like leave the premises. Yeah.
Because normally you like have to put everyone's belongings out on the curb for the sheriff. Like it's a whole thing.
They take her out in the chair.
Yeah.
And she's continuously rewinding
she's got that remote.
Movie. Watching Madeline Ashton get strangled. Yeah. I love.
She like hangs in there in the doorway one more time, and then it gets to where she dies, and she's like, "Okay, now we can go.
Let's go."
Right. So she then gets committed, and in the group therapy session, she realizes that I need to kill Meryl Streep. I need to kill Madeline Ashton, and so she sets off on her revenge plot. And we skip. This movie has 2 time jumps. We go 7, and then we go another 7, which is odd, but
yeah.
We jump ahead, and Bruce and Meryl's relationship is on the rocks. Bruce Willis, we should mention, he's a famous plastic surgeon, which was what Meryl Streep's character is attracted to. But by this point in the movie, he's now an undertaker, and a drunken undertaker on top of it. Meryl is fading. She sees Goldie Hawn. And Goldie Hawn, no fat suit anymore. The fat suit's gone, and she's now she now looks better than she's ever looked. Yeah.
Creepy eyes, but smoking.
Yeah.
Other than the creepy eyes, and maybe not a great shade of lipstick for her. But
right. But yeah,
it
super
was the
smoking
90s.
Red dress and yeah.
So Meryl, who will go to any lengths now to look better so she can compete with her rival, ends up at the home of Isabella Rossellini, who she gets this movie.
Oh, yes. I don't know if a movie was more tailor-made for Isabella Rossellini than this particular one.
Seriously. I mean, her like outfit of just a necklace that covers
just a necklace
and a sweet skirt. It's amazing.
That's like completely. It's barely attached on the side.
Right.
Yeah, there could not be a more perfect role for her.
Right. I would like to think that those were not costume made. She just pulled those from her closet.
Probably.
She's like, oh, I got this, honey.
Around her house.
Come here. Yeah.
And like the amazing unitards that her like men wear around the house are also my gosh. Thing ever.
Incredible. Like, her men named Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So she drinks the potion. She gets this potion and she becomes youthful again. Her wrinkles fade. Everything seems like it's going to be okay. While this is happening, Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis are plotting to kill Meryl Streep. And instead of the very elaborate drunk driving accident that
which is like my favorite scene. They're like,
that sequence is amazing.
Yes.
Where they pour all the vodka all over the car, and there's like 40
all
bottles
over the car.
Yeah,
everywhere.
This girl was so drunk, she even got vodka on the windshield.
Outside the car.
Like she's swerving dangerously close to the edge. It's amazing.
And then, and he repeats it exactly in the same intonation. There's a woman swerving dangerously close to the edge.
And then they like, when they say she's like, they look at her blood alcohol, they're like, it's 0.42.
0.4? Yeah. They're like, she had it coming. They lift up the arm and it's like a skeleton hand, like fried to a crisp, still holding like the end of a...
Right.
I love it. It's like the best sequence ever. It's such a good plan.
Oh yeah, it's
I love it.
It's totally how I would get rid of Jeremy.
100%.
Okay, you heard it, folks.
Right here on
Jeremy gets subpoenaed at some point. If something ever happens to Jeremy, we have it recorded.
Foolproof plan right here from Death Becomes Her. Yeah. I just have to figure out where to get Narcanol.
Where would she have gotten it?
I don't know. She's like, lightly coat each glass. I'm like, where does... I guess maybe he has it because he's an undertaker? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, but you have to keep track of which glasses you coated because you guys are having dinner with her too.
Right.
Otherwise, we're just all passed out.
So they get back, and instead of this foolproof DUI plan, Meryl and Bruce have
Ernest
have this fight, and Ernest pushes Madeline down the stairs
because she calls him flaccid one too many times.
Yeah.
So many times. She's just yelling flaccid into his face.
Yeah, I actually, and this was the other thing. When I saw this as a kid, I didn't know what flaccid meant.
Me either.
So
I was a little older. I knew what it meant.
Yeah. Two things I didn't know at 13: what flaccid meant and who Meryl Streep was. I don't know if those two are connected.
I don't think they go hand in hand. They do in this film.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So I think she says that word 20 times. Yeah, she takes a hell of a fall too. I'm like a huge horror movie person, but I usually turn away because it's like the noises. It's like 50 stairs.
Yeah, and that's part of this movie. It's not rated R, it's PG-13, but it's really in your face with the gruesomeness of what's going on with these characters. And I like that about it. It's interesting because they're really making it a very dark comedy. But those crunches that happen every time she hits the stairs are just well timed and well executed. But the good news is she's not dead.
No,
she's
her
in
head is just now
horribly misshapen pile on the ground.
I love when he like calls her and he's like, "But I did it! I pushed her down the stairs."
I did it. Yeah,
he's so excited. He's so proud of himself.
No. She's like, Ernest,
murder! I did it! I didn't think I could do it, but I am a murderer.
I know, and then poor Helen's like, Ernest, this is not the plan. You idiot.
Why would you have called me first?
Yeah. Well, think about that from her perspective. She's been plotting this murder for 14 years now. Yeah.
He's really dead. I mean, like, he got to do it. Man. She's been waiting forever to do it.
Mm-hmm. And then he just calls up. Yeah, just think, if you've planned something for 14 years, you're on the cusp of doing it, and then somebody calls up and said, "Hey,
the same night."
This thing, I just did it in 30 seconds. Is that cool? Are we okay with that?
I know you have this elaborate, incredible plan where we would not be implicated, but I just push her down the stairs. So,
and I love that they like resurrect her from the dead, just like in the background behind him on the phone. She just gets up.
She's like just a leg starts kicking.
And then he loses his shit.
Yes,
understandably.
Yeah. So that of course is the big reveal, is that in drinking this potion, she has not only become
hot
eternally
again.
youthful. Yeah. So she now is also a zombie, or is she?
Well,
this is my question.
Isabella Rossellini very dramatically said, "Siempre viva."
And she did say, "Now a warning." That's probably one of my favorite lines.
After she drank it.
Yeah, she goes,
"Now a warning."
Yeah. She tells her, like, be careful. Like, you won't be a zombie unless you F up.
Die.
Right. So you can live forever, but if something kills your body, you're still trapped in the body.
Right. So you have to live inside your mangled ass body, whatever you do to it. So don't fall down the stairs. Don't call your husband Placid a bunch of times.
Only 3 times, not 4.
Yeah. I know that's my limit at the house.
Everyone knows. Come on.
So of course now they take her to the doctor. Sidney Pollack is here for some reason.
He's the doctor.
But I love that scene with him. He's so good.
Me too. It's like my favorite. It's hilarious.
It's so great.
He's like, basically, your body temperature is below 80 and he's just like, you're dead.
He definitely like takes out what's that pill that you put under your tongue if you think you're gonna have a heart attack?
Because he's freaking out.
He pulls one out and puts it under his tongue, and he's like, "I have to leave."
And then he takes a shot at Bruce Willis's flask.
Yeah,
and gets out of there.
It's like, I'm done.
And then he dies.
Yeah, he walks out of the room and just literally keels over.
Bruce Willis goes looking for a different doctor. He's like, where are all the doctors? Every doctor went
to help this guy because it's hilarious. That scene's great.
So good.
It is. And so once they get Meryl out of the hospital, out of the morgue, because she faints, they put her in the morgue. Bruce has to get her out of there.
In the morgue.
They go back and find that Goldie Hawn, or that
Helen
is back at the house to try to help bury the body, and Meryl Streep
overhears
the plot and does the only rational thing: gets a shotgun.
Can we talk about why does she have like a red beekeeper hat on? I am deeply confused by that. Like, she's got rope and she's got tarp and stuff, but she's got a beekeeper hat on, and it's red.
It is red.
And I have a lot of questions. First, why? Second, how dare you?
I don't know. Maybe it was like to block the stench of death or something. I don't know.
No one will know it's us with these red beekeeper hats. Totally normal to wear into Death Valley. Totally normal.
Oh, that's right. They are going to bury the body in Death Valley.
If Helen knows one thing, it's foolproof plans at this point. So
and what to wear to execute them.
What to wear.
Red beekeeper hats.
So she takes a shotgun blast to the stomach, only to get up and reveal, shocker, she's taken the potion too, which is apparently how she got from Fat Suit Goldie to You Can Get It Goldie. And so she's now.
What I want to know is, I guess they say that the price of the potion's different for everyone, but like she was like in an institution. I mean, she didn't have shit to give Isabella Rossellini to get that potion.
Well,
Meryl
maybe
Streep
she
had to
left
pay
the
like
institution. Well, because when they see each other for the first time, it's at like a book signing party that Helen is a writer. Right. So maybe she got out of the institution and wrote a good book for once, and then used all her money.
She took the potion like in the 80s, though. I think they revealed to each other when they took it.
Yes, because
way longer before Meryl.
Well, there's an Easter egg on this. Is that for those of us who are It's a Robert Zemeckis movie. She takes the potion on October 26th, 1985.
1985.
1985. Yep.
When Marty went back.
When Marty went back.
Marty
So
went back in time.
I don't know if that helps the continuity of the film as much as it just says, hey.
It's for fun.
Yeah, why not? So
I like it. It makes me feel better.
Exactly. It's like, it ties it all in.
Of course. Of course.
So at this point, Ernest is like, he has thought this is like a miracle for the whole night. Like his wife is like a miracle, and then he realizes this isn't a miracle at all.
Right. Exactly.
But he goes, it's another miracle.
Goldie gets up. Yeah.
I'm gonna call bullshit. It's still a miracle.
It's still a miracle. I mean, it's
not
a natural miracle.
Right. Like impervious to death. That's still a miracle.
It's still pretty awesome. But
his delivery of that line, though, is so great. Because there's a very pointed pause. And then he goes, it's another miracle! Like, stop looking at me. I didn't do it.
And then he starts like thinking about it, and he's like, I don't think this is a miracle at all. It's like, yeah, buddy, I'm sorry.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. But so because their bodies are now, this is the rule that they broke, as you mentioned. There's the rule that they're given of you got to take care of your bodies, because if you harm it, the body starts decaying, which seems, I mean, these are very perilous situations, I would think. If you get like rear-ended or like in any sort of accident, what happens? Does the body, is it like going to heal itself Wolverine style as long as it's not a fatal wound? I'm not quite sure. What is this?
Yeah, like if you just got like a cut or a mosquito bite or something, like is that gonna, does that stay on you forever, or is it only like gaping wounds to the stomach?
Like infinite paper cuts?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But is it, I mean, maybe it's just because their wounds are like pretty severe. I mean, like she knocks her head off with a shovel.
There's a hole in the middle of Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like if it stops your heart, right? Like
I guess like if it kills you.
If it were to kill you, then your body is dead. Okay, sure. You know, there's a lot of,
There's a lot of gray area here.
Exactly. Well, and there's a lot of gray area all over Meryl and Goldie now. So they have to get spray painted to look normal, which is why they want to keep Ernest around, because as an Undertaker, he figured out the best way to make bodies look their best was spray paint.
He tells the Goonies
mannequin
mom
paint,
that
he
the
says.
Goonies mom asks him at the book party. He's like, you worked on my Aunt Esther. He's like, spray paint. Yep. She's like, how did you do it? And she's like horrified, but he's like, spray paint, basically.
She storms away from him.
Yeah. So they end up now chasing him down. They kidnap him. They want him to drink the potion. He refuses.
Because they want him to keep him looking good.
Yes.
Because he can, I mean, and apparently not only is it spray paint, because he fixes all their hole.
He fixed a hole. What did he do?
I mean, if it was just a little coat of spray paint, they could probably handle it. But
what's in the? Yeah, like what does he do?
What did he stuff Goldie Hawn with?
Right, paper towels and then some spackle. I don't know.
He on that pool table.
Yeah.
That always gets me too. Yeah, I remember thinking that too, because she's in the one-piece lingerie, so you can't really see what's happened. But it would be. But she's acting as if, instead of just wearing something that's going to cover the hole, I'm going to fill the hole. Seems to be.
Well, she's like repeatedly touching her stomach in that spot, like ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah. It's all fixed.
It looks so good.
The spray paint tends to like flakily peel off like nasty spots too that they constantly need fixed.
It's like peels off like rubberized almost. It's really nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah, so they're like, we got to keep this guy around. He can fix all of our. I mean, I don't know if they're planning on like beating the shit out of each other again, but he's like, we need him.
Yeah, because no one else is gonna figure this out for us. We're gonna. He's the one guy who can figure out how spray paint on body works.
Right.
Sure. So they figure they're going to get him to drink the potion. He doesn't want to do it. He realizes he has the moral conundrum of, do you really want to live forever? But
with these two wretched bitches.
No.
After Isabella Rossellini gets out of the pool where she's been swimming in a scarf.
Yeah. Only.
Just like a normal day, just like a Wednesday, swimming in a scarf in your pool.
With her like 2 frozen dogs that are real dogs.
Yeah, and Tom, Dick, and Harry dressed like American gladiators.
Put her in sweet robe. And they go to like a massive party at her house with like all these dead celebrities you thought were dead.
Yeah, like James Dean is definitely there.
Oh yeah, that's the fun thing about this movie that really. Other than the special effects, the other thing that really stamps this is who the dead celebrity punchlines are in this movie, because it's all these people from the 60s. It's Marilyn Monroe, it's Elvis. Like I would love to, if they remake this today, would we see like Tupac in there?
Right.
Yes.
And not hologram Tupac, the real deal.
The real one.
Yeah. So that would be, because I don't know. I think this movie the concept of this movie is a lot of fun, and I think you could see somebody doing a reboot with this with like high CGI. I don't know if you'd want to, but I could see somebody floating that around there, some out there with all the other things that can get rebooted. Why not have some fun?
Since nothing is sacred.
No. So. Right. Exactly. They're like, hey, we want, the biggest problem would be is if you're in a room with like a bunch of straight white guys and you say, hey, let's reboot Death Becomes Her. They're most likely going to go, what?
Huh? The internet would not lose its mind. Yeah.
No. Yeah, exactly. So he escapes and lives off. And then we find out that he lives happily ever after. They hear nothing of his life. Like, he gets to move on with his life. And he gets married. He has this wonderful, fabulous life.
He climbs mountains, and he just,
and has like a bunch of kids.
Yeah, even though he's like 50 by the time at the point that he moves on. But hey, yeah, he lives to a ripe old age, and he had a good life after those two.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, these two are trapped forever with each other. And then the final scene, the final moment, which is so gross and funny.
So nasty. Yeah.
That these two, they both fall down the stairs this time, only now because they've essentially become mannequins too, because that was the other thing I noticed watching.
Explode.
They can't walk anymore anyways. They all are like limping, and like their legs are all messed up, and they have like cans and cans of spray paint in their bag that they're carrying around.
That's what I thought. I was like, they got really brittle over 37 years. Does that mean like at this point the muscles have atrophied and all that? So they're just like basically mannequins.
They're like glass, yeah. And
they start talking about like Meryl Streep's finger falling off, and so apparently they're just decaying.
Yeah. Apparently they need to live with Tom, Dick, and Harry and take scarf swims to look better over the years.
They gotta get their swim scarves out.
Because Isabella Rossellini looks rockin', and she took the potion like forever ago, so these two just really effed it up.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is they just let Bruce Willis escape. They let these other two women escape. You would think that if this is a secret they want locked down, they'd be like, okay, you two need to come back here. You're not allowed to leave.
You two gotta live in the house, like in a locked room.
Yeah. I like when they stopped showing up for the annual party.
Yeah, it was time.
I think she wouldn't have sent them after, sent Tom, Dick, and Harry after those two. It's not like they could run away.
Right, yeah. We've got two mannequins out and about here, people. We maybe want to bring them back before people start asking questions.
Because they look raunchy, and they have to wear like veils over their faces, and they look so bad. But they lose a can of spray paint, and it's like on the church steps, and they trip on it, and they just fall down and break into like a zillion.
Shatter at every joint.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
It's and then they're just like their heads like spin around and they're like basically like shit. We got to get ourselves back together.
So,
I really love the sound effect that accompanies Goldie Hawn's head spinning around, which sounds like a hubcap.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds exactly like a hubcap.
right.
What is happening?
So I guess then what? So what would kill these women permanently? Does
Apparently nothing.
They're in 1,000 pieces, but their head, like if their heads got smashed, does that kill them? Like this is.
I don't know. Would their head just like reassemble like the rest
Could
of their
they just,
body? I don't know.
Hold their breath and, like in cartoons where they blow their heads back up like a balloon.
I don't know. I mean, can they die at all? I think that's...
Yeah.
Siempre viva!
Yeah, they're both zombies and immortals.
Mm-hmm.
Which seem to like kind of contradict one another.
See, I think the point was for them just to be immortals, but they effed it up. So now they're like this conundrum of the situation. Mm-hmm. Like everybody else, like that's come to this party and stuff, everybody else is looking good. Yeah. Like, are these two the only ones that have just... Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know.
I gotta say this. If Elvis did take the potion, why is he still fat Elvis?
Right, he should look hot now, right?
He should be hot Elvis again. Yeah,
exactly. Right. Because I mean, if I'm Elvis, I'm gonna be a little pissed at that.
Here's another thing: when Bruce Willis takes off, he takes off in James Dean's car, and crash.
Oh, we may need to record.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
We lost you for a second, Allison. Go ahead and start that again.
Oh, I said James Dean looks pretty good for having died in a horrific car crash.
Right.
He turns around.
But here's the thing we don't know about James Dean is are we now led to believe he faked his death? Was the car
crash a fake out so he could go live somewhere else, like
so he could go live forever because 22 or 25 when
he was really young.
He's really, he's kind of like tapping out early if that's the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Isabella Rossellini only gave them 10 years.
Right.
Then they had to move, that's right.
And then they had to disappear.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Fake, phony death.
So the interesting you mentioned how dark the last scene is. The movie itself, the interesting thing about it is it wasn't that dark when it was tested. There's actually an entire subplot that is taken out of the movie that involves Tracy Ullman as a kindly bartender. And she apparently makes friends with Bruce Willis's character, and that's supposed to be the actual romantic lead of the movie. Is that Bruce Willis has this other person who's not horrible that he wants to go with, and so
that's why he chooses. Okay,
that's why he chooses. Yeah, he chooses. The movie ends on a happier note with him, with Tracy Ullman, and the picture at his funeral of him in makeup is as an old man makeup. That was actually supposed to be a scene of him climbing Mount Everest with Tracy Ullman as a happy old man.
Okay.
And so they show this to audiences are like, what the hell? Like we just watched like Goldie Hawn take a shotgun blast to the gut, and you're going to end with, like, you're going to try to end this on a happy note?
Yeah, that seems really disjointed.
Yes. So,
yeah.
But it's the other interesting thing too about it, because what I note about the movie is that like the movie just kind of ends right when you feel it's getting going.
Yeah, it does. Like the end is always for me kind of just been like the first hour I love, and then it gets like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it ends sort of abruptly.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of that is because they ended up having to just completely chuck the ending that they had and go with something just darker, which is like, okay, button on it, here we go, exploding mannequins, and we're done.
And it's
throw another time jump in there. Why not? We already had two.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's There's third. 3. So, well, that's comedy for you. Rule of 3. We're gonna have
there you go.
We're gonna have 3 time jumps. So, what we just kind of covered the plot, and I know we went through some things throughout it, but is there anything in particular that sticks out for you on the guiltier side? What about this movie? Is there anything that didn't work for you on this newer viewing that it has in the past? Let's start with Sarah first this time.
Let's see. I just watched it again last night. I think, like I said before, like I was just saying a second ago, like I think the first half of the movie is just like far superior to the second half. Like it's funnier. Like it just like up through like the scene where they have that epic fight with the shovels, and like Goldie Hawn sits down and like it goes through her stomach. That's like one of my favorite shots. It's the best.
The javelin toss.
But like after that, I feel like it just like. Even last night when I was watching it, I was starting to get bored and like went to go do something else when like the rest of it was happening. And I was just like, okay, I guess I don't think it's like fully strong all the way. I mean, not that it's like a strong movie, but I mean, as a kid, it kept my attention, I think, a lot better than it did when I watched it again. So.
All right. How about you, Allison?
I definitely agree that the first half the pacing is so much better, and the action builds and builds and builds, and then the ending is kind of a big letdown after you've had all this, extra stylized and dramatic and heightened reality that they're living in, and then it's just like, oh, and then he died.
Yep.
Cool.
That's it.
Right.
Bye.
He was happy. He died.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
The end. Watch the
we
mannequins explode.
Yeah. we ran out of money. We making the hole in Goldie, so we can't shoot anything else at this point.
Like I think I would have rather like seen them like go like move away and start their new life and see what they ended up doing or something like that, because like they don't. I mean, if they're there, I mean, I don't know. I mean, how they heard about Ernest's death or where they were living or how that. Are they still living like in Beverly Hills? Because they didn't do what Liesel told them to do. But I don't know. I think like seeing what they ended up doing or like how they started a new life or moved to, I don't know. It would have been more fulfilling.
Just watching them bicker with each other.
Yeah.
Like in some remote place where they're the only two people there.
Right. Like in like some igloo or something. Like
right. They're like in Iceland somewhere.
Like Monsters Inc. style, like banished to like the abominable snowman,
Exactly.
Right.
I feel like that would have been more satisfying of an ending.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just to dial up the nastiness a little bit too, because that reconciliation between the two that happens so quickly.
Yeah, it does.
It's like if these are both incredibly like narcissistic people, and you would think that eventually they would just appeal to each other's ego, which is essentially kind of what they do, but then it just cracks away over time, literally and figuratively.
I always like wanted to see like how they met too, because like they have like that whole conversation about how like you thought I was cheap, like you wouldn't show me to your parents and blah blah blah. Like it's like how did these two become friends? Like it just seems like a really unlikely. Because like when you first meet Goldie Hawn, she's not like a glamorous person. She's like awkward,
she's kind
like
of mousy.
Yeah, she is. She's like kind of dowdy clothes, and she's a writer, and she's I don't know, like awkward bangs. Like, just for her to be friends with like the famous Madeline Ashton just seems kind of weird.
Right, because was she, obviously they were friends before she got famous.
Right.
And then maybe, you could connect some dots, I guess, but it's not, they're not really, again, there's so many puns with this movie. They're not that fully fleshed out characters.
There's so many, like, I want to see like a prequel or like a sequel, like both.
The closest they get to like explaining that a little bit is when Goldie Hawn like looks at their pictures of the two of them that are up there on that. So I think that maybe they were rivals in high school and that's how it happened.
It's got to be something like that.
So I know we talked about a reboot. Here's what I'm thinking. So that happens in 1992. Ernest doesn't die for 37 years, so it's only been 25. So they've got 12 more years of life before they fall down the stairs. Let's bring them back now.
Hell yeah.
How about a
They're
Death,
going to redo the movie. It's got to be
Becomes her sequel, where it's these two like living that way. I'm on board for that 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, how do they go? Like, I just want to know how they live. Like, okay, do they have to eat?
Right. Again, there's so much of this that once
are they just running around existing?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. What does your body do once you drink the potion? Is it still a functional body, so you still need to like eat and drink and poop and all that sort of stuff? And then it's only once you die that your body's dead, so you never have to eat again then?
Right. I feel like Goldie Hawn couldn't eat because like whatever he stuffed her stomach with is clearly not going to digest anything.
Right. It's just going to fall through that hole.
Right. I go.
Collect inside her and like rot. Ugh.
Yeah. But like I feel like the people at the party are like drinking, so
what must they smell like?
Oh yeah, this is like some Weekend at Bernie's.
Decaying, nasty shit.
Because they're sitting in the back of that church at that funeral. All those people had to smell them, right? They got to smell like decay and spray paint.
Right, like rotten death covered by acrylic paint.
At least, at least at the funeral, they can blame it on Bruce Willis.
Right. He was pretty old.
Hey, it's the corpse. Something smells like death. Yeah, there's a dead
guy in here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they don't like have to like go to Hy-Vee and like shop or like like I don't know what like their daily life entails.
Right. Like, how would they even like? Where would they live?
I know. Like, what would they do with their time? Like, if you don't have to like eat or sleep or like go have a beer or like do. I mean, what do you do?
Right. And if they have all this time, why aren't they better at painting each other?
Yeah, because they get so bad at painting each other over 37 years.
Yeah,
they've had
to like have like more falls or spill. Like they've had to like.
Oh yeah.
Because I just feel like they still like you said, they talk about like her finger falling off. Like, did that just spontaneously pop off? I feel like they had to have like been fighting again or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, there's so many. That's why we need a Death Becomes Her sequel.
We need a sequel.
There's so many
that need Hollywood.
That's right.
Make it happen.
Yeah. Though one of the things, and this is an incredibly small thing, but it stuck out to me so much when I watched this movie, is when these are all such stylish characters, and when Goldie calls calls Ernest to check on what's going on, and they cut to her. She's wearing a Nike T-shirt.
Yeah, she is. Like an oversized one.
With Nike. I'm like, where
maybe that was left over from her fat days.
Yeah, because it is huge.
Yeah,
and she just didn't part with it.
It was like her comfort item.
Yeah. It's so out of place for the movie that all this we're just gonna throw a random Nike product placement into Death Becomes Her.
Listen to do it.
Yeah.
I also love when Ernest and Madeline get married and she's like in the back of the church and she like twists that hanky so much that her hands start like gushing.
Yeah.
Starts bleeding.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It always like that always grossed me out. I was like, whoa, okay. Also, I was noticing last night when Jeremy and I were watching it, like when Ernest goes down to the morgue to see her, have you ever noticed that those nuns that come by him in the hallway are floating? It's really bizarre. They're not walking. You don't see their feet. It's like Beetlejuice, like these three nuns float by him. Yeah.
In like a perfect little triangle formation. Yeah, they float and they're like muttering.
Yeah, they're like it's really
It is completely unexplained and never mentioned again.
Yes. I know.
Just
I was just like,
happens.
What? Yeah.
It's bizarre. Yeah. I saw that too and I was like, what?
Oh, I missed that. I was just thinking. I was still mourning Sidney Pollack at that moment. I must have just.
Yeah, it is three nuns in a triangle floating down the hall, muttering to themselves.
You see them from the front and from the back, still floating.
Yep, still floating away.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah. Yep.
So Anything else that you can think of that sticks out for you positively or negatively that we haven't touched on?
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. I don't think so. I mean, I think we.
I really love how like stylized the dialogue is, because it's very like stylized and heightened, and no one talks like that, but it works because everything's so over the top.
Yes.
If they spoke normally, like you would in a regular movie, it would feel you'd have this cognitive dissonance the whole time. But I think they really nailed it with that.
Yeah, and everyone in the movie is swinging for the fences. Everyone is so bright, especially
100%.
the side characters. That was the other thing. Like the French plastic surgeon or whoever Meryl goes to and has really over the top accent.
He's got like an eye twitch the whole time. He keeps like touching his eye to stop it from twitching.
The salon or whatever it is, are like the weirdest treatments ever. Like there's a guy on like a spinning ball,
giant
like
hamster wheel thing.
Blood's like draining out of him. I'm like, what the hell is this place?
Yeah, they're like, we can give you a collagen buff. What is that?
What is a collagen?
I also love like the fashion too, like what was supposed to be glamorous in 1992. Like she's like trying to look her hottest to go to Goldie's book party, but she wears a black scrunchie in her ponytail, and I'm like, that is glamorous. Like that is what you thought was going to be a good idea to make her think like you're still rocking. Like I don't.
And the pantsuits.
Yeah.
Oh, the pantsuits.
And like the outfit that she puts on when she falls on the stairs, it's like this like unitard black pantsuit, but then she puts on that like awesome like sheer pink thing over the top of it that like ties. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
What is this? And then when she falls, it looks like there's a button on it.
It does.
Like I didn't see a button before.
Like a robe tie, like that goes. That's not attached.
It's so
to
confusing, and I don't understand it.
And, like,
I love everything
like, she's
about it.
She's wearing like a pantsuit, like romper thing, that green one. Then she goes and gets the potion. It's also really awkward.
So strange. The widest neckline.
Yeah, it is. Because then when her boobs go, it like scrunches up. I love it.
Out at every. Yeah, when the boobs go, whoop,
and I think
that's it too.
Like my favorite line when she's like, "I'm a girl," and then the guy, whichever one, Tom took her hair, he goes, "Shh." Okay.
Like, wow. Don't talk about it. I don't care.
Yeah. You know how many I saw Marilyn Monroe do this shit. I'm okay. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, we get it. Okay.
We get it.
Head out. Yeah, exactly.
No one cares about you, Madeline Ashton.
And I forgot about this too. When Bruce Willis goes to the office and you see that he's like not a plastic surgeon anymore, and he's an undertaker, and it's like that actor that was like having
oh my god
hot tub with his like 18-year-old wife, and he's like frozen face. That smile.
The most insane.
Yes. It's the best. It's like
it's so great.
It's
and
amazing.
He's blue.
Yeah, blue.
But only his face is blue.
And he's like, they're like, no. He's like, well, he's smiling. He looks great. And they're like, no one will recognize him. Like,
right. He was like, I'll give him character and depth. And they say, no, they have to recognize him.
Yeah. Oh, everyone in this movie is so bitchy. Like, they're just like,
the singers are amazing.
Yeah. This feels, and Robert Zemeckis, at the time was a producer on Tales from the Crypt. And this movie was originally supposed to be some sort of like extension of that series.
Yeah, it feels like Tales from the Crypt.
It feels like really because it has that.
Super does.
Yeah, because Tales from the Crypt itself was based off of like the old like 40s horror comic books.
Comics, yeah.
And that's what this movie feels like. What you said, Allison, with the heightened dialogue, is that this feels that it could have either been like an old style monster movie or a musical comedy. Like, either like it would have.
That's what. Death Becomes Her, the musical?
That would be awesome.
Now, how has that not happened yet?
That would be really hard to do makeup-wise, but that would be awesome.
We've got a Mean Girls musical that's on Broadway this summer, so why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They did a Young Frankenstein one.
They did.
I already have one number.
Exactly.
Right.
So do they have to get Tennessee Williams' permission for the song that's based off the play?
Probably.
There might be some copyright issues we got to work through, but we can make it happen.
Well, they kind of already got permission for it one time for the
True.
movie, so
Yes.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't be able to.
Because that song
continue
has to
have
stay.
that permission.
Sure.
Phenomenal.
Well, and
Oh, it has to. It's so amazing. It can't go anywhere.
yes,
It has to start with that weird
mirror.
Yes. Well, and they could do it because the one of the screenwriters of Death Becomes Her, David Cope, I think his name is, or Kep. He ends up, this movie exposes him, because of working with Zemeckis, it exposes him to Steven Spielberg. And he goes on and he writes a ton of Spielberg movies. He helped write Jurassic Park. He helped write the fourth Indiana Jones movie, which won't hold against him. But he writes like he writes Men in Black, which I know is not Spielberg, but he goes on. He has a very successful screenwriting career. So that dude's got money. He can fund this. Let's get it going.
You have to have the. That's my favorite part.
Oh, the disco breakdown.
Yeah, the disco break.
Oh, it is. That is magnificent.
I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, so
they do the hustle.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have anything else before we wrap this up?
If I could keep these headphones in my ears, I'd be really excited. But no, I think I hit it all.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's put this to our guilt meter here on guilty pleasures. On a scale of 1 to 5 shame spirals, 1 being you adore this movie, you want everyone to see it, you'll host a screening. 5 being you like this movie, but you would tell no one, you'll hide this in your sock drawer and keep it from the world. Where does Death Becomes Her fall on the guilt meter? Let's start with Allison.
Movie so much. I don't care.
Hold on, I think we lost you for a second, Allison. Can you?
Okay. Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yes.
Okay. This is 100%. I love this movie. Come over anytime. We will watch it. Let's have a party. I'll do a theme party even. Let's do a dead celebrities party where we watch Death Becomes Her.
Dress up as your favorite dead celebrity. That's all.
Yeah. I did.
All right, Sarah, let's go to you. What do you rate Death Becomes Her?
I have to agree. I have to be a 1 too because I would help. I would cook the food for this party for you because
I think we need to have this party, Sarah.
I love this movie. I like I said, I got it out of my grandma's weird movie closet, and I'm so glad I found it in there. I'll never put it back because I love it. Even though, like I said, like the ending is still a little bit like meh. The first hour just so makes up for that. So I would absolutely invite all my friends over to watch this, and if you haven't seen it, I will force you to watch it because it's just because it just has such a great cast, and it's like so, like you said, like they're so playing like opposite of what you would expect, and it's hilarious, and it just has all the elements that you need to make a truly guilty pleasure.
Yeah, just turn your brain off and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. And I'm gonna go a little higher, but I'm not going too far. I'm gonna go 1.5. Because I think I know a lot of people that I would say you need to see this movie, but there's some people I'm like, you're good. This movie is not for you.
You won't get it.
Then those people should not be in your life.
Well,
cut them out. They're toxic.
That's my New Year's resolution: is to find out anyone who doesn't like Death Becomes Her and unfriend them from your life. That's my line these days. Not anything else. But if I go in. If you bash Death Becomes Her on social media, you're dead to me. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot too. I'm glad I got to rewatch this. It'd been forever since I'd seen it, and I was like, this holds up really well. I think even the special effects hold up fairly well.
Yeah.
You can still, they're not top of the line compared to what we see today, but that holds up. The performances are great. It's a fun movie to watch, and it's a really interesting when you consider Robert Zemeckis has just come off his iconic trilogy of Back to the Future and is about to give us Forrest Gump, and in the middle he gives us this weird, like broad, dark ass comedy.
Especially with like how popular zombies are today and like apocalypse movies and stuff, like zombie movies like this, I feel like would just be kind of fits.
Sure, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, before that's going to do it for Death Becomes Her on the Guilty Pleasures, but I am pleased to announce what we're going to be doing next for Guilty Pleasure, because we're going to try something that we have not done yet on Guilty Pleasure, and we don't think we've done this yet at the Front Row Reviews. We are going to make our February movie up to you, up to the listeners. We are going to put, after this episode drops, we're going to put a poll up on our Twitter page at Front Row Reviews, and you are going to get to determine what movie we cover next on Guilty Pleasures. And because next month is February and it is Valentine's Day, love is in the air, we have 4 romantic movies that we're going to choose from, one from each of the last 4 decades. And so there's going to be something for everybody here. So option number 1 from the 80s, we're going to go more Goldie Hawn on you. We're going to go 1987's Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is some stuff to unpack on that one.
Yeah, no joke.
We will get into it if that wins the poll. Option number 2, we're going to jump to 1998 and She's All That.
Oh man!
Oh, it's a good movie.
Freddie Prinze Jr., Rachel Lee Cook. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna have some fun if that wins the poll. 2000s, we're going to 2001's Serendipity, starring Kate Beckinsale, John Cusack, and Jeremy Piven.
And Molly Shannon.
Molly Shannon, yeah.
Yeah.
Cast. But again, another fun one to cover on Guilty Pleasures. And then our final option, our most recent option, what would Valentine's Day be without Nicholas Sparks? So we're going to go to 2013's Safe Haven.
Man. I just watched that on Netflix the other day because I hadn't seen it. Oh, man.
Yes. If you have not seen that
Huff's Glory.
It is, and you need to see it. We need to talk about it. If it wins the poll, we'll talk about it. We may revisit some of these movies. If they don't win the poll, we'll see how much action this poll gets and how many people vote for what movies. But those are your 4 options: Overboard, She's All That, Serendipity, and Safe Haven. You can go to our Twitter page at Front Row Reviews. You can go to my Twitter page at The Fake Blue Hair, and you can vote. We'll leave it open for a couple of weeks, and then we'll record it, and it will be ready for our February episode. So, in addition to that, we also want you to go and check us out on iTunes. Please find the show, subscribe, rate, review it. Help us get more eyeballs on this and get us listening to conversations about movies that span the wide gamut, from guilty pleasures to classics, flashbacks, Beyond the Mouse, Full Disclosures, Are You Afraid of the Podcast, Zonasodes, everything that we've got for you at the Front Row Review. And also find us on Facebook. And you can go to our website, thefrontrowmoviereviews.com. Join the conversation. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know what you thought about Death Becomes Her. Is there something we missed? Is there something you want to point out to us? You can also please share this with people. Also, go to our YouTube page if you want to see some of these shows as they happen. Subscribe to our YouTube page, and you'll get not only what you hear in the podcast feed, but you'll get some bonus trailer reactions, box office reports, a lot of great stuff that we're always doing on the Front Row YouTube page. So I think I got everything. That's a lot. We do a lot of stuff here.
That is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're busy.
So we're going to keep busy, and we're going to come back in February with another Guilty Pleasures. But until then, I am Lou Hare.
I'm Sarah Baltusevich-Geckner.
And I'm Allison Means.
And as always, we'll see you in the front row.